Many of my friends and relationships around the world offer products and services that they describe as the best. Maybe that's you as well. I'm often fascinated at how many products and services there are and how many ways an individual can create something new and create something really compelling and make it better than other products. I often think about the idea of what is the best, and I wonder if you've thought about this yourself. What does it mean to be the best? Because you'll see in many places they will say, look, we have the best cake, we have the best automobiles, we have the best brunch, we have the best clothing, we have the best tailors, we have the best fixtures. You'll see that all over the place. So best, what does it mean? It means it's of the highest quality, and it means it's of great advantage. And what that really means is the best depends, and you can only explain the best as it relates to your product or service if you really understand this. One of my favorite advertising slogans out there is for mayonnaise. Yes, mayonnaise. And it's for Hellmann's mayonnaise, and I think it's been a slogan of theirs for probably 50 or more years, maybe even more than that. And the slogan is, when you bring out the Hellmann's, you bring out the best. And it's a great example of the perspective on what the best means. So one of the things on the Hellmann's bottle is the phrase real mayonnaise. Now, this was puzzling to me when I was growing up. Like, what does this mean? But it really goes back to a time where packaged goods companies were trying to persuade primarily women in the home that these packaged goods were of the same quality or just as good as making your own products, because people made mayonnaise at home. So the idea was real mayonnaise means that there's real ingredients in it. There aren't substitutes in it. There isn't powdered milk and eggs and those sorts of things in it. That it's real. And that was for a long time a important message when it comes to mayonnaise. But then we got to a place where the phrase real mayonnaise was challenged, and it was challenged because there was this view that Hellmann's was implying that other products were therefore not real. Now, it just so happens that their major competitor, Miracle Whip, included some of these powdered ingredients, and as a result, they couldn't call it mayonnaise. They had to call it dressing. But for some people, that was a better alternative because it didn't have some of the negatives associated with real mayonnaise. So it's a fascinating thing. From one person's perspective, it was great. From another person's perspective, it wasn't. During the whole, let's be careful about our health, let's be careful about cholesterol, let's be careful about certain fats in foods. Well, the real component, the real eggs inside of mayonnaise is a problem. But then when we talk about the farm-to-table movement and using real ingredients from the farm, well, then eggs are really a good thing. So the point here is that you can only talk about the best if you understand what your product is about, what kind of ingredients you have, how you've developed it, and you have a way of explaining that. But you also have to understand the perspective of the person who's buying. I will often ask clients, for example, what's the best men's suit out there, for example? Well, one tailor said to me, well, other than the suits that I make, it probably is Burberry. because they know how to marry the old traditional fabrics with the modern sensibility, modern tailoring, modern silhouette. Another tailor has said to me, "Whoa, no, it's Brioni, the brand that emerged in the 40s out of Italy, and it's impeccable cut, bespoke suits, and beautiful fabrics. They're the suits that have they dress James Bond in." And then I have another client that says, "Well, we always keep a Brioni suit in our shop, and we use it to mop up the floor." He's making the case that these Brioni suits just don't compare. I say all this to say to you that when it comes down to selling the best, it's all about perspective. And there are two perspectives that are important here. One is you must know what it is that is about your product or service that you can claim is the best. What is your advantage? Why is it of highest quality? And how did you come up with that decision? And then the second thing is understanding what's important to the client. Because a client might not care about any of those things. A client might not care about whether that product or service was, or whether that piece of furniture, for example, was made by hand. They might feel that, wow, I can get this furniture from Wayfair online, and that's adequate. Another person might say, wow, I love the way this was designed, put together, the finish. I remember going into a shop. I bought a table, and when I went into this basement of this brownstone, this gentleman had all these tables laid out. Excuse me, and they looked somewhat similar, but they were slightly different finish, slightly different heights, slightly different wood selection. And he would take me through each table with great pride to show me the differences. So selling the best is about understanding your point of difference, but it's also understanding the client's point of difference. Now, how do you understand that? One of the things you should do early on is make sure you ask adequate questions of your client. What's important to them? If you're selling a vacation, if you're selling selling real estate, those things can really vary widely on what's important to the client. Does a person want to go into a city and experience history and look at something that might be hundreds of years old and get a perspective on something and have a real cosmopolitan experience? Or do they want to be in more of a retreat, something that is more of a hideaway and be around natural surroundings and environment? You could argue that both of those are vacations that you could call the best, but it depends on the client's perspective. It depends on what they want at any given time, and it depends on the choices relative to the ones that you're recommending. So you have to understand what a client's preferences are. And you can do this in any product, with any product or service. When you get a client, ask them a few questions. What is it that's important to you? What brings you in? Why are you choosing to even look at this product category? What you'll hear in that process are matters of consideration. And those matters of consideration will tell you what's on the radar for the client and why they might think of what you're doing as the best, or they might even rule it out. Selling the best is about perspective. And when you understand that, and only when you understand that, can you sell the best. If you like this tip, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you like it. Share it with someone in your network. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.